أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب إله رب العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين سيما بقية الله العظم بقية الله خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين ولعنة الدائم على أعدائهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكر فضائلهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، قال أمير المؤمنين في مناجاة شعبانية: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعد علي بفضلك على مذنب قد غمره جهله. إلهي قد سترت علي ذنوبا في الدنيا وأنا حوائج إلى سترها علي منك في الأخرى. Verse number 21 and 22 of the Munajat of Sha'baniyah. Very beautifully, Amir al-Mu'mineen is teaching us how one should really communicate, connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this munajat. We've been going through for quite some time to point out to the hidden meaning, the secret meaning, the spiritual reality of this dua. Now obviously the translation will be there, but if we approach this translation with an insight to every word and how perhaps Amirul Mu'mineen is reciting this dua, how in the sense that with what understanding and with what marifat Amirul Mu'mineen is reciting this dua. So if we get that marifat based once again on the Quran and on the riwayat and the teachings and the seerah, which means that the methodology and the way of the Ahl Bayt, we will be able to recite this in a more profound way. وَعُدْ عَلَيَّ بِفَضْلِكَ عَلَى مُذْنِبٍ. We are asking Allah to confer upon me, to look towards me, who is already a sinful person, who is covered by his ignorance. وَقَدْ أَغَمَرَهُ جَهْلَهُ. We are requesting God for the extension and perpetuality of the fadl, of the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon me. So see how he is already accepting that I am a jahil, I am an ignorant person, I am someone who is a sinner. Ala mudhnibin, I am accepting that I am a sinner, and I am requesting God that you extend your fadl upon me, O Allah. See, if it wasn't for the fadl of Allah, which means that if it wasn't for the bounty, for the blessing, for that fadl, for that favor of God, I wouldn't have returned back to Allah. Because this feeling of seeking forgiveness, this feeling of returning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is because of His fazl, is because of His favor, that this comes to my mind and then I seek forgiveness. That's why God is known as Tawwab. Tawwab means somebody who returns, somebody who turns. Tawbah is like returning. That's what Tawbah means. So I am doing Tawbah means I am returning back to God. I am rujuing ila Allah. My ruju ila Allah is Tawbah. My returning back to Allah is Tawbah. But God is who? He is Tawwab, which means that who returns more than me. Because first God returns to me by His favor. He puts that feeling of seeking forgiveness in my heart, because everything, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, right? Allah is the one who is doing that. So we have to keep that in mind, that this realization of the mistake that I have committed, it comes from God. As this realization have come into me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I am returning back to God. Now when I am returning back to God, I should not make the same error in seeking an apology in front of God and also in front of others as well. maybe I have done something wrong, and this behavior which I carried out, which was not in the favor, which was not appropriate for me to behave in this fashion with a brother or with a sister, then I realize that no, this was not right behavior. I should seek an apology, right? Now, when I am seeking an apology, when I am asking sorry from this individual, from this person, I should not hold myself. I should let it go. I should not say, oh, I'm sorry, but it's something that was positive in it as well. Baba, you are going to apologize. Let it go. Let go your ego. Sincerely say, yes, you made a mistake, right? But we are still holding that grudge. Our maqam, our status, no, right? When you sincerely want to do it completely. Don't go halfway, right? So now here the same way. So when that thought of seeking forgiveness which comes to my heart, it's been laid by God. Now when I go back to God, I should let it go completely. I should surrender and ask that Allah, this thought came from you, so therefore keep your favor upon me, right? بِفَضْلِكَ عَلَى مُذْنِبٍ قَدْ غَمَرَهُ جَهْلَهُ, right? It says ثُمَّ تَابَ عَلَيْهِمْ لِيَتُوبُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ, right? ثُمَّ تَابَ عَلَيْهِمْ, then they do, God provides him with tawfiq of doing tawbah. Then they do tawbah. And inna Allah huwa tawwab rahim. And indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who basically accepts the tawbah. Right? They have accepts that tawbah, that return of there, that one is seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then afala yatubuna ila Allah wa yastaghfirunahu. Why not? Afala, why? Yatubuna ila Allah. Why don't you return? Why don't you turn to God? Why don't you seek forgiveness? So that Allah forgives you. Look how Allah wants to leave the door of tawbah open towards His creatures. That one should really, return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this comes in with another sifat. See, if you pay attention to this dua, we tend to find the kamalat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amirul Mu'min talks about the kamal of God. Right after speaking about the kamal of God, Amirul Mu'min talks about the lowliness of insan. So here it says, fadl, your fadl on this sinner. What type of sinner? Someone who is in covered, who's covered all around with his jahl, with his ignorance. Wallahu akhrajakum min butun ummahatikum la ta'lamuna shay'an. God says that we have taken you out of the butun, of the bellies of the mothers, la ta'lamuna shay'a, you had no knowledge of. Right? Imam Hussain alayhi salam, in one of the du'as, he recited, Ana jahilu fi ilmi fakayfa la akunu jahulan fi jahli. Oh Allah, I am jahil in my knowledge. Oh Allah, how beautiful. Ana jahilu fi ilmi fakayfa la akunu jahulan fi jahli. I am jahil in my knowledge, and how can I not be jahil in my juhulat? I am already jahil while having knowledge. How can I not be jahil while being jahil? That is the height of juhulat. That is the height of ignorance. That while being ignorance, how can I not be ignorant? Right? So this is the way to approach God. Now I think we kind of covered this a bit in our previous program, but we revisited it. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ أَسْمَاءَ kullaha. Allah is the one who have taught us. So in this phrase of the dua of number 21, that's what Amirul Mu'mineen says. Now, once we, get rid of this hijab of ours, of ego and stuff, then we'll start seeing God. Now let's pay attention a bit more to our next verse of this dua, because we covered this earlier. That is, Ilahi قد سترت علي ذنوبا في الدنيا. Oh Allah, you have covered my sins in this dunya. He is Sattar, which means that He provides that covering. He hides. Allah hides our faults, our limitation. Insan is a very limited person. He might from outside look faultless in a way, but there are many faults inside. Just for an example, I, with this attire, with the turban, with the beard, with the abaya, with the khaba and nice collar, right? Representation of a religious person. If you see me just on the zahir, on this outward, you will say this is a religious person. He is a person who's faultless in terms of deen. He is representing that. He does not have any fault in him, as such, from a religious point of view. Why? Well, he's not clean shaved. Why? Well, he's wearing the turban, which is the sunnah of the Prophet, or he has a cap on his head, religious representation. Why he's wearing the abba, which Prophet used to wear, is the sunnah. There's not any aib, not any sort of, fault in terms of the zahiri aspect of me as such. We are not talking about the features, his eyes is small, his nose is big, his lips are fat, or, we are not talking about that. We are talking about the representation. From that religious point of view, there isn't any. I'm not wearing tank top, my body is showing, for example, I'm not clean. No. From the deeni point of view, yes. So, but there are many faults in me, which is inside of me, that you don't know. Why you don't know? Because God is Sattarul Uyub. God is hiding those faults from you. God does not want you to know that. God is hiding that, right? It is the mercy of God that He does not know. You don't know. If that's the case, I will not be invited to sit here, even by wearing the turban. If you know my faults, I will not be here giving you a speech, and you are listening to me, and you will not listen to me. I will be kicked out of this town. I will not be able to go give majalises anywhere, because God is hiding my faults out of His mercy. Naqis. Insan is naqis. Look how merciful Allah is. My wife will be upset with me. My children will be upset with me. My mother will be upset with me. Everybody will be upset with me. The whole town will be upset with me. They will kick me out. This man, oh no way, I don't want to be near him. Right? His immorality he has. He is this, he is that, he has done this, and in this age, all of the faults, if comes out. But Allah, out of His Sattariyat, He is covering that. How merciful God is. This is the mercy of Allah. This is the Rahmaniyat of the Lord. Right? So we say, Ilahi qad satarta alayya dhunuban fid dunya. Oh Allah, you have covered my faults in this dunya. Ya Allah, wa ana hawaiju ila satraha alayya minka fil ukhra. Even in the akhirat, even in the hereafter, oh Allah, please don't show my faults to others. Right? So in the dunya, for example, if they know my fault, I am facing so much trouble, because dunya is limited. In this limited, I am facing so much trouble. The intensity is also limited. The fire of the dunya is nothing compared to the fire of the hereafter. So the dunyavi fault, when it is let out, I am, I face so much of problem. Imagine the ukhrawi fault as a priority, it will be greater trouble. It will be like the fire of the dunya compared to the fire of the hereafter. So if my faults are known and the feeling that I will have and how I will be treated is nothing compared to the akhirah. So therefore, O Allah, as you have hidden my fault in this dunya, in the akhirah it will be more worse. In the akhirah I will be needing more help. In the dunya I could cover, for example, to some certain extent, but in the akhirah I have nothing in my hand. I will be raised naked. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam in Dua Abu Hamza Somali, O Allah, I seek refuge in you, where I will be raised naked from the grave. I seek refuge in you. Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Dua Arafah, he says that, O Allah, it is because of your sattariyat, it is because of your covering of my faults, I have been respected in the community. If the community knows who I am, they will kick me out of the town. They will kick me out of the village. Imam Hussein is saying that. So Allah has placed that covering, that He is Sattar. He covers. And particularly He is Sattarul Uyub. He covers the aib. Right? Now, we ask Allah, oh Allah, please, as you have, ilahi qad satarta, certainly, it comes with a qad, right? And it comes with a fi'l mazi, which means past tense, right? When qad comes with a mazi, it means 100%, certainly, qad. Qad aflaha al-mu'minun, certainly the mu'minun are successful, qad. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, right? Certainly, that qad. Ilahi, قَدْ سَتَرْتَ عَلَيَّ بِذُنُوبًا فِي الدُّنْيَا. Certainly and certainly you have hidden my faults, covered my faults in this dunya, O Allah. And I request you that you cover these faults in the hereafter. This is my hajat. Why? Because إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. Right? What the earth will shake. Or the day of judgment, يَوْمَ تُبْلَ السَّرَائِرِ. All of the secrets that man have will be taken out. The earth will cough all the strange actions of man that he has committed on this dunya. Gruesome acts will be pointed out, will bring out. That's Yawma Tubla Sarair. That's why the Prophet says that on the day of judgment, you will find people with the bodies of animals and faces of animals. But at the same time, you will be recognizing them. Who this person is. It will be like some sort of feeling and realization that, I have this, may Allah protect us all from that day and make our face like the face is in this dunya and more illuminating, inshallah. That because of our actions that we have done, because who we really are in terms of our soul, our face might look like a pig, but at the same time there is some realization of people who are around us that he looks like a pig, but he is really Abbas, for example, Mirza, my name, How painful that will be. How shameful that will be. Right? That's the day of judgment. That's the Prophet saying. Let me tell you another thing, very practical thing. Never say that this hadith doesn't belong to me. Never say that. Oh no, I'm a good person. Never say that. Always and always the ayah of azab. Wailun lil musallin. As the Quran says, lanat. vow onto those who are worshipping Salat. I am also worshipping Salat. I may be included in that. So we got to be very careful. Never be self-righteous. Say, no, I'm doing so much ziyarat, I'm so good, I do so much charity, I'm a good person, I'm a Maulana. I studied in the Hawza. I'm doing so. No, never. Always look at that hadith. Maybe I may be having that quality in me. When the Prophet is saying on the day of judgment, human beings will have the face of a monkey or a dog or a wolf or a pig or what, maybe I might be there. Oh Allah, a'udhu billah. I seek refuge. Right? Like for example, they say, okay, the qualities of a munafiq is that he lies. The qualities of munafiq is that he breaks a promise. The qualities of munafiq, he does not fulfill the amana. Always look at that. Maybe I fit into that category. And how can I save myself? And on the other hand, when we hear something good, always say that I am not doing that. Even if I am doing it very less. They say that on the day of judgment, the person will have no worry. He will be provided with grace. Who? A person who holds God as high. A person who do bir to walidain, who serve and who do good to their parents. A person who respects the teacher. Don't say that, oh no, I do. I respect the teacher. I hold God, Allahu Akbar, really. Or I serve my parents. No. Always say, no, I don't. Whatever I am doing is less. So from a very nukte tarbiyati, this is a principle in tarbiyat, in training of the nafs and soul. So always when we see something that is there, one should say that, no, I'm not doing that. Like for example, man alima min akhi sayyi'atin fasatraha satara Allahu alayhi yawm al-qiyamah. A hadith, man alima, a person who knows and who have the knowledge of his brother who have done a sayyat, who have committed a sin, and he covers that fault, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover his fault on the day of judgment. So if I cover someone's fault, right, Allah will cover my fault. So I'm asking in this dua that, oh Allah, as you have covered my fault in this dunya, cover my fault in the hereafter. Now here in this hadith, Allah is teaching us through the Prophet that if you cover someone's fault in the practical way, Allah will cover your fault in the hereafter. Now what I'm trying to say here in this hadith is two things. One is in regards to how our faults will be covered in the hereafter when we cover faults in this dunya of other people. Not just by asking dua, oh Allah, you covered my fault, so therefore you cover my fault in the hereafter. Well, good, but I got to do something about it. Number one. Number two, now I read this hadith, man alima min akhi sayyi'atin fasatraha satara Allahu alayhi yawm al-qiyamah. Oh yes, I do cover brother's fault. Then I'm happy, I'll be okay in the day of judgment. God will cover me. No. Look at from this point of view, I don't exactly do. Sometimes I fail, So now, if I look this hadith from this point of view, then when that time comes, I will be saying that, this is the time I need to cover. I will be vigilant. I will be awake at that time. So it's very important. So I talked about 2 points with this hadith. So now the day of judgment is the day where the secrets of human beings will come out. That's what it means. When Imam Sajjad alayhi salam is saying that I will be raised on the day of judgment naked. Naked as in what? Without clothes? Okay. Yes, we will be buried in kafan, and then we'll come out on the day of judgment without any clothes, right? But Allah will have a special covering of the awrat, of the private parts. He's in his own mysterious way, right? because there will be no clothes. We will be raised naked, right? Now, this could mean that we will be raised naked in the sense that a physical naked, and this could also mean that we will be raised naked in the sense that there will be no hijab of my amal. I will be naked, I will be like an open book, so that everybody can see. I will be naked in terms of my amal. The secrets will come out. That we have to really ask from Allah that He protect us. And that itself is azab. Imagine the act and the guna and the sin that I have committed. This comes out in front of others. How embarrassed I will be feeling. The feeling itself, the intensity of the embarrassment is an azab. Azab for me, azab for all those who know me and who respect me and who love me, who likes me. Right? It will be azab for them as well. They will feel sad. If your brother do something and somebody comes and tell you, you will feel unhappy that, oh no, that's not good. So, and then you will feel worse because your brother knew that you did something wrong, that he came to know, because you have respect for your brother or sister and you want to be good in their eyes, in your parents' eyes, you become worse. See, it kind of multiplies. Now, don't make the heart of Imam Zaman cry. Don't make him feel embarrassed by saying that, oh, this man, he calls himself as a Shia of Ali. He calls himself as a lover of Ahl Bayt. But on the day of judgment, look the list of things. In this dunya, he said he is a lover of Ali. But in the akhirah, look what actions that he has done. He will be suffering, but at the same time, the Amirul Mu'mineen or the Ahl Bayt, they will be like very embarrassed. That's why the Ahl Bayt says that make us proud on the day of judgment. That people will say that yes, he is a follower of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. Don't make us embarrassed in front of God. So we got to be very careful. Very careful. We have to be awake, aware, watch ourselves constantly, that maybe some of our actions may bring about sadness to the heart of the Imam of the Waqt and others on the day of judgment as well. So here in this hadith, Imam Rasulullah gives an example of how to be covered in the hereafter, or how this acceptance of this dua would be. Ana hawaiju ila satriha alayya minka fil ukhra ya Allah. Now here I will point out to a philosophical point as well, because as we started and always try to point out some of the philosophical aspect, and that is wasma dua iza da'utuk wasma nida iza nadaituk faqad harabtu ilayk ida wa waqaftu bayna yadayk mustaqinan lak mustajiran ilayk. Dua munajate, Shabaniya, we started with that, and we said that when I'm asking wasma du'ai, that means I'm asking Allah for the quality or the sifat of Allah, which is one of the positive attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to focus towards me, and the quality of Allah being Sami, that is Sam. That's what I'm asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wasma du'ai idha da'utuk. So here when I'm saying I'm calling wasma and listen, that means I'm asking Allah to focus towards me with the name of Sami towards me. So that name of God which have that blessing is opened, is bab, is door, or his blessing towards me. That's what I'm doing. So here, when I'm saying that, oh Allah, satarto, oh Allah, right, Hawaij, satart, you have covered, was satreha, and also cover. So I'm asking that name of Ya Sattar, the hider of faults, to focus towards me. That's what I'm asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dua. I'm asking that name to turn towards me, which is Ya Sattar, right? Through a statement, through a request in this dua. Now, obviously, if this quality of covering doesn't come in me and it is not in my nature, then this will not be cash, or it will not be realized from the wujud of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala towards me. I said something very important, principally speaking. So I should have that substance of sattariyat to attract the sattariyat of God. It's like a magnet. God says in the Quran, you like to be forgiven, so you forgive in the dunya. So if you forgive in the dunya, we will forgive you. God will forgive you in the hereafter as well. Who does not like to be forgiven? So if I like to be forgiven, I have to forgive in the dunya to others people's fault. If I like to be covered my faults, I have to cover other people's fault as well in this dunya as well, so that I be covered as well. This is what it means on a more outward level, on the surface level, where God says that who is there to do business with me? This is business with God. This is business with God. This is a transaction. Okay, here I forgive. God, I'm doing this business with you. I forgive. I forgive here because you say in the Quran, whoever forgives and wants to be forgiven in the hereafter, they should have that soul of forgiving. So if you forgive here, okay, my business is I will cash it in the hereafter. If I cover here the faults of people, of mu'mineen, then I will cash it in the hereafter. So it's a transaction. It's a business. Now, that's one way of looking at it. The other way is where you say that this quality in me must come out. What is the quality? Because it's the Yawma Tubla Sarair, as we said. The day of judgment is where all the secrets come out, right? Where man is naked. So if he has this quality of sattariyat in him, he will not be naked. It will be covering, right? Automatically it will happen. It will attract the sattariyat of God like a magnet, and man will be covered, right? Because the wujud, the existence, particularly of insan, of a human being, he's not masoom. There's always limitation in him. Even a person who is reached that darajah kamal, still compared to God, in front of God, is not complete, is incomplete. God have to cover that incompleteness, because incompleteness is a concept, is a reality, is something that you could figure it out. Maybe you may have the same fault, but you could see it. You see? So that should be covered. And God does that. Regardless of what. Because you are not in there, you are seeing it. You are in the position of looking at it and judge whether it's perfect or not. Maybe you might have that fault as well. You see? So no matter how much and how good and how perfect an individual be, still it will be limited, because it is not God. God is the only one who is perfect. So now this covering is required for all. Right? Now, some of the hadiths in regards to this are very important, where the Prophet says that in the limitation of man, let me read that in Farsi because I want to have that feeling of that I have made this hadith reached you. در عیب انسان همین بس که به امور عیبهایی از مردم نظر کند که آنها را از خودش نادیده میگیرد. In the fault of a human being, this is sufficient enough that he looks the faults of others and he does not look his own fault. This itself is a fault. That's what the Prophet is saying. The Prophet is saying that dar aib insan hamin bas, in pointing out to a fault in a human being, this is sufficient enough that he looks the faults of others and he doesn't look his own faults, right? و ایشان را به آنچه نمیتواند آن را ترک کند سرزنش کند. And where he himself cannot get rid of the fault that he has, he is telling other people off. He has no right to say that. Where he himself cannot get rid of his faults. Now, getting rid of a fault, okay. One way of taking at this hadith, and which is more surface level, is that, okay, drinking is haram and it's a fault. I see a person, a brother, and I tell him not to drink because it is aib, it is wrong, it is a fault. Now I myself drinking, so I don't have the right, because I have this fault in me, I don't have the right to say him that don't drink. That's one way of looking at it, right? That's more surface, where I'm not looking at the fault that is in myself, but I'm looking at a fault at others. The other way of looking at it, okay, he has this problem, he has this particular fault, but I have a different type of fault, right? So I'm looking at his fault, but I'm not looking at the faults that I have, right? And I am criticizing him for not getting rid of the fault that he has, where I myself not getting rid of the faults that I have in me. Who gave me the right to do that? This is more deeper. So got to be very careful that when I'm trying to stop someone from committing a sin, from committing an error, from making a fault or rectifying their fault, I should be very careful. I could approach that issue because, okay, I don't have that fault of drinking or taking drugs or whatever, and I say it's bad, don't do it. I could jump into it, but I could get angry, I could get upset. I want to stop that person, right? Because I don't have that fault and I see this fault in them and I'm stopping them. You know, hijab, they're hijab, you know, pull the, for example, the scarf, I say talk bad, I respect it because I wear good hijab, they don't wear good hijab, so I'm saying, telling them off. I don't listen to music, they listen to music, so I lose my temper, I speak, I say this aib, these people are like this, and I say that. Okay? Tell them off. Sarzanesh, tell them off. That's one. Now, I have faults, but I don't have that fault. As I don't have that fault, I'm telling them off. But I have other faults, I'm not telling myself off. I'm not stopping the faults that I have in me. So if I realize that I'm not telling and rectifying my own faults, which is other than not doing hijab, which is other than not listening to music, for example, then the way I will approach in doing tarbiyat will be very different. I will be doing him or assisting him or helping him or pointing out to his fault on a balance level, on an equilibrium level, on the equal level. You have faults, I have faults. Yes, maybe I don't have that fault, which is you are addicted to music, but I have other faults. So as I have other faults, that makes me a person of faults, and you have this fault, that makes a person of faults. Now I have no right to be proud that I don't listen to music and then tell you off in a disrespectful manner. You see? So it's all has to do with that tarbiyat, that training, that psychology, the way we approach. Sometimes we regard ourselves as, oh, we are the religious one. We don't listen to music, we do hajj, we do ziyarat, we don't drink. Oh, we are good, we pray on time, we do this. But look at those people. They are like that, pointing out their faults. And then when we, speak to them, we, have a fasale, have that distance with them. Oh, you do karahat or something like that, No, we have to treat them equally. Those individuals, those personalities who had no fault, how kindly they treated those who committed sins. How beautifully they were, how kind they were, how respectful they were when they are doing Amar bil Maruf, when they are trying to point out their fault, how beautifully they did. So we got to revisit the whole aspect of our being, tarbiyat of oneself. These du'as, they come in great help. And then we got to look at these du'as in a more tarbiyati way, in a more of a training way, rather than just reciting it, right? So that's the hadith of, now another beautiful hadith from the Prophet. And the Quran also says, Wailun likulli humazatin lumaza. Right? Wailun, as lana, wow, upon saying bad and upon finding faults. God says, Wailun likulli humazatin, just the same way saying, lanat upon. The curse of God be upon. Wailun likulli humazatin lumaza. Upon who? Upon those who are doing fault finding. Fault finding, God is detest fault finding. And most of our time in meetings, in majalis, in our discussion, we are discussing nothing but the faults of people. Oh, he's like that, who's like that, she's like that, they did this, they did that. Most of our gathering have become that. Fault finding. Unfortunately, we never look at the positive aspect. We never appreciate. He did this, he did that, you make this, you make. That's how we have become. And we don't stop. We always keep on going. Repeat, continuing it from this group to the other group to the third group. We expand. So unfortunate. This is how communities have become. All these WhatsApp is full of that. Just one message, this is what is it. This is in Facebook. Did you see that picture? Instagram, did you see that picture? This is how they were dressed. This is how they celebrated. This is how they did their birthday party. This is all of that. This is how things have become for us. Last hadith from the Prophet. Ebe mu'minin ra peygiri nakunid. Do not go behind the faults of mu'minin. Zira. Because kasi ke ebe mu'minin ra peygiri mi kunad, Khudawand needs aibe ura peygiri mikunat. If they go in fault finding of mu'mineen, God will go fault finding of those people who are doing fault finding. Wa kasi ke Khudawand aibe shra peygiri kunat, ura ruswa mi sazat. And if God goes behind you to do the fault finding of yours, then God will make you hopeless. و او را رسوا می سازد گرچه درون خانه باشد. Even if he is in his own house, He is not going anywhere. He has locked himself. Even if that be the case, God will make him disgrace if he goes and look for faults in mu'mineen. Inshallah, we'll stop here. In this dua, we ask, oh Allah, you have covered our fault in this dunya. Please cover our faults in the hereafter as well. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعليه الطاهرين غفر الله لنا ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.